Hi everyone, this is a video recording showing you how to do a mini version of Fresco using plaster of Paris. This is the equipment you will need. You will need a bag of plaster of Paris, a mixing bowl, just a plastic one is fine, and a spoon, a plate, this is your mold. Paper cups are useful for measuring, so you have a paper cup. Also, you will be painting, so you need paint. You can use the powder paint scooped out of the tubs. And what I've done here is in the middle I've also put a bit of water for mixing. You can also might want a bucket of water for cleaning your brushes, the brushes themselves, and some tissue paper. So the first thing you need to do is mix up the plaster of Paris. They normally recommend for every 1 part of water you need 2 parts of plaster. I found you actually need a little bit more plaster than that. So using 1 paper cup, measure out 2 cups of water. After that we will add 5 cups of plaster, so not 4 but 5, we're going to add a little bit extra. So I'm just going to put the water in, so you do the water first, in it goes 1, 2, and then I'm going to add my cups of plaster. I've pre-measured them, you can always measure them extra. Now when you pour the plaster in, don't just chuck it all in one place. Try and do it gently, and if you can see I'm moving backwards and forwards across it, so it's not a rush. The plaster will sink to the bottom. Okay, so that's 1. Okay, so shaking it gently from side to side so it's not all in one place but more evenly spread. That's 2. Here we go, number 3. That's 3. 4 going in here. And we're going to add 1 little bit more. Okay, that's 5. Let it sit for a minute, and then using your spoon, very gently mix it and stir it. It will be runny, that's fine. Don't want lots of air bubbles, so don't beat it. You're not making a cake. So just very gentle. When you've done that, bring the paper plate over and pour it into the paper plate. It should fill up about that much. Because it hasn't filled the rim up, I'm actually just going to quickly pop my name on the bottom here, on the edge, so that I know that it's mine. Alright, that's it. It's not ready to paint yet. Now you need to wait, I'm afraid. You just have to wait. If you notice that it's quite shiny, you've got a lot of surface water, get a bit of tissue like this and just pop that on, and it will absorb the surface water. This will help it to dry a bit faster. Okay. Don't worry if it creates little ridges, just give it a little shake and the ridges will disappear. I can still see a bit of surface water just over here. I'm just going to pop that on again. Over there, little shake, there we go. So I'm just going to move this to the side while it dries. Now, while you're waiting for that to dry, you can get your paint ready. So go and scoop out your paint that you need. once again, like the egg tempera, I'm actually just going to paint an apple. Paint the same thing each time, and then you'll have a decent comparison. So what I'm going to do is, from this is my water, I'm just going to add a bit to the powder paint here. It does take a bit of mixing. Okay, the more powder, the more paint powder you have, the darker the color will be. Depends on the consistency you want. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just add a little bit more water, so I've got lots of paint to use. Once you start painting onto the plaster, you don't have that much time. So it's a good idea to mix up the colours you need in advance. Okay, so I've got those colours there. I'm going to rinse off my brush in my bucket. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the blue. Again. So the more water you have, the runnier the paint will be, the lighter the colour. I don't actually want too much blue, so I'm okay with that. Rinse my brush. Mix up a bit of yellow here. If you have a variety of colours, you'll be able to make a variety of colours. So if I wanted, say, to make some orange, that's not really a big problem. I'll just scoop up some red. Maybe add a bit of yellow. And yeah, got a bit of an orange there. The last thing I'm going to do is black. Black is so strong, I always leave that till last. Otherwise it contaminates all the other colours. Okay, so that's my black. I'm going to give my brush a rinse. I'm going to have a check on my plaster. Give it a shake. You can see it's still kind of wobbly here. I'm going to do another paper. Picking up that surface water. Again, I'm giving it a little shake, though I can see it is starting to be a bit more solid. Unfortunately, at this point, you just have to wait. Okay, after about 10 minutes, it does take a while for your plaster to dry. Give it a shake. If it's not really moving, you're probably good to go. You do a finger test, okay? Just tap gently. If you're feeling that it's quite solid, not much is coming up. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So give it a bit of a shake and you can start painting. You're going to paint directly into the wet plaster. This is what people do when they make frescoes. They paint directly in. The paint, the colour then fuses with the plaster and it becomes part of the wall. You're not painting onto the wall, it becomes the wall. So I've got my red paint here. Like I said last time, I'm just going to do an apple again like I did. And you should see the paint actually sinking in. It's still quite wet, so I can see the plaster's actually coming off a bit. I might need to wait a little bit longer. We'll see. So what I'd like you to do is try and blend colours together. I'm going to make a bit of a purple, I think, over here. So I'll get some blue and red together. I'm going to mix up just a bit of a darker shade. Maybe even try a bit of black in there. It's actually a little bit wet still. I think I've done it a bit soon, but that's okay. I can keep going. I'll try using some of the orange that I made earlier. Yeah, it's just pushing it around. I'm not very happy with this right now, so I might just wait just that bit longer. I painted too soon. So you do need patience with this. Yeah. That's all right. You can still wait a bit and then paint a bit later. You can keep doing a finger test. It's getting dry by the second. It's still coming up a bit. Okay, so it's getting easier now that it's actually drying. I'm not just pushing wet plaster around now. So it's feeling more solid. The colours are blending a bit more easily. So I've left it a bit longer, and now, yeah, that's going on much better. Again, I'm not marking the finished thing. I just want you to have a go with this process. If you did want to create a bit of a background, why not? Okay, play around with this a little bit, you can. Okay. Create a pattern, see what happens. But to be quite gentle. Okay. Create a bit of a shadow underneath, see if that helps with the realism. And notice that because of the white plaster, the black isn't terribly strong. If you wanted a really dark black, you'd need to mix in a lot more black powder. There, like that. But it is going a bit grey because of the plaster. Okay. Alright, I'm going to leave it there. Once you're happy with it, you need to put it on the drying rack to dry. You can wash up your powder paints in your water. Very, very important. The remaining plaster and the spoon, leave it. Do not wash this up down the sink because the plaster will go down the drains and block them. So just leave it to harden. When you come back next lesson, it will be hard. It'll peel and chip right off. Okay, so no need to clean that. Clean your paints and your brushes. Pop this on to dry, and next lesson, when it's completely dry, you'll be able to pop it out of the plate. And here's one that I did last year. So I popped it out of the plate. You can hear this is plaster, and that's my painting that I did before. Alright, that's it. That's Fresco.